Good to go. Just going to adjust this a little bit. There we go. Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Storyteller's Corner. I'm your host, Joshua T. Calkins Truergy, also known as Baron Sidious. And for my brief stream here today at home, just going to be showing off or showcasing a little bit of retro gaming off of my device. It is, I'm going to hold it up here for you. Retrieve it. It's called an SFC 2000, also known as a data frog. It was with an AV cord to plug into television, and I did get it with distance remote so that I can safely prop the device out of view of my sons so that they can't get a hold of it and or destroy it when they're home, and so that I can just comfortably play the game at a distance. So yeah, just going to be doing a little bit of that and chit-chatting, as well as making a confirmed announcement. Here in the favorites, I've got 95. Holy hell, I've got 95 titles saved on here as favorites for easy access, and then a handful of game ROMs that did not come pre-installed on the device that I ported over onto the flash disk. It's going to insert into the game or into the device, and let's do a little Mario versus Donkey Kong, a little puzzle gaming. And I'll pick up where I last left off. This is one of my favorite features of this device, is that each title on the Data Frog, it's a cheap little handheld. It's not the highest power device. There is on Game Boy Advance quite a bit of screen tear. Really, the ideal systems that come preloaded on this device to play are Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Color, Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, and a handful of arcade game selections. Greetings, Dan. How do you do, brother? Belgian Dan, medicated lubricated YouTuber. So I'm just going to actually load up my last save point. Here we go. You can hear the audio distortion. It does get pretty rough. I can actually make that a little less awful. Regulate some of the growling off of there. I'm doing all right myself, Dan. Thank you for asking. Though I am a little perturbed by certain kind of hiccups that seem to have struck Substack. I've mentioned it numerous times. Substack is one of my favorite sites and services to go to as a storyteller, as an author. in order to find an outlet for presenting my material, my genre fiction material. Because regardless of whether or not I'm going to be compensated financially, that is not so much a concern for me at any point, so much as having the capacity and the opportunity to freely share my fiction to a prospective audience. Now, one of the downsides of Substack it is largely populated by other writers, other authors, um, largely journalists, article writers, nonfiction opinion talking heads, as it were. Socio-political pieces are the vast majority of material on Substack, and kind of have been since its inception. Unfortunately, I tend to dive more in the area of Substack that is populated and reserved mostly for genre fiction authors. Some small handful of them are more of a literary bent. They tend to put everything behind a paywall and say, oh, if you want to read my material, you got to pay up. Would I like to do something similar? I'd like to have some material behind a paywall, and I do have a small handful of pieces behind a paywall. But don't be fooled. My metrics on Substack state that I have X number of paid subscribers. I think it's like 26 paid subscribers. They're not actually paid subscribers. As the operator of my Substack, anyone who has their own Substack can choose to do this. You can gift limited time or long time or lifetime paid subscriber tier access and status to anyone who subscribes to you. And there's a small handful of people, like I said, 25 to 26 people, who I have marked as I want them to have lifetime permanent access to any paywalled material that I put on my Substack. So they're counted according to Substack's internal statistics as paid subscribers. And that's what gets put on the display regarding my account, my Substack. So anyone just publicly perusing my Substack will see, oh, he has 25, 26, 27 paid subscribers. No, I don't. I have that many folks who I have granted free, permanent, lifetime access to any material that I may eventually put up behind a paywall. Now, going forward, there's maybe 3 or 4 other people. Dan, I don't know if you're on Substack yourself yet or not, but if you ever do join Substack and become a subscriber to the Storyteller's Corner, I am going to immediately grant you that same benefit. But anyway, back to what I was trying to get at. There seems to be a little bit of an issue with Substack right now for about the last 2 months. People have been getting randomly unsubscribed or unfollowed to certain Substack accounts. Following is not the same as subscribing. When you follow a Substack account or contributor, you get access to their notes, you get access to their posts, but you will see notes from them first. Notes is kind of the almost Twitterification, the social media component about Substack. Dude! Fuck. I came on here to just chit-chat a little bit and play some old video games, but now I almost feel like I have to launch into a promo for Substack. By and large, for my liking, Substack is to the written word what Rumble has become to video. It is a place for free, open, and honest expression of anything you could think of. On Substack, it's primarily in the written form. Substack, when it first launched like 4 or 5 years ago, it was only for text. It was only for people to write articles or to produce chapter by chapter installment stories. It was utilized for serialization of the production of longer articles or investigation pieces, think pieces, and eventually myself. And I was not the first person to do it. It was the charge was led by other genre authors first, but eventually Substack became a home for small and indie press authors as well. It is primarily written word first, but over the years, they have grown to implement audio components for podcast uploading. You can post podcasts or audio recordings as a Substacker. And recently, they've leaned a little bit more into their video posting element. Anyone who has a Substack can upload video onto their stack, but it is primarily not reserved, but it's only really promoted for a handful of big name users who've made their way to Substack as yet another stop in their infinite and unending spread of themselves like a virus. I'm not keen on using Substack for video, so I don't. But I do often, when I do post just audio stuff, just straight up podcast kind of material, I bring it to my Substack. Likewise, a lot of my observational pieces that are written that I don't intend to record for audio, I put them on Substack. I have a whole slew of short stories, and I have serialized publication of several of my novels to my Substack as well. So it is, I love being on Substack, and I think you might get a great kick out of it too, Dan, because there are a lot of tremendous humorists. There's some immensely talented small and indie press sci-fi writers on there. Joanne Hildebrandt and Jonathan Delp are two that immediately come to mind for me. Jonathan does a series called Stomp Roams. It's a kind of a modern take on the Sasquatch mythology, wherein Bigfoot is traveling across the country in search of other Sasquatches. He's trying to track down, and relocate members of his tribe. And it's really been a fascinating adaptation of the mythology and the urban lore, urban legendarium that Jonathan has produced over the last couple of years. He's great. And then Joanne Hildebrandt is kind of trying to do a representation of superhero kind of sci-fi material and stories, but with some elements of kind of light romance included. But I really dig Jolan's style. His word choice, his verbiage is peak. It's really just expertly executed. He is a fantastically talented storyteller in his own right. I'm not huge on the romance stuff, but I never have been. But even with that aside, he is just wonderfully skilled and talented as a storyteller. But anyway, I'm going to hit the bathroom real quick, and then I'll come back and play some more video games. I'm actually going to change the game. What do I feel like playing right now? Lord knows I've got a lot of options. I'll go back to Mario World. I've been tooling around with Mario World for like a month. Just every now and again, I'll pop it in, or I'll load it up. I'll play for like 15, 20 minutes. Which one? Okay. I don't know which save this is. 3. Oh, Lord. These levels always suck. Especially if you're trying to hold on to your Yoshi for any length of time. Huh! Shit! I was never the greatest at Mario. Rather, Mario World. Look at them coins! Coins. Whoop, 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 whoop. Good stuff. Son of a bitch. See, half my problem is I just can't stand still long enough. Hence why I die. Yeah, no shit. F for Yoshi. Yoshi sucks. Get me fucking killed. Screw you, Yoshi. Little fucking dinosaur bastard. I don't know why every time I get Yoshi, I feel compelled to hang on to him. It's not like he does me that much good. Oftentimes he ends up getting me killed. There's some weird kind of like pet owner guilt factor there. Ugh. Ugh. Like I said, gotta pee. Be right back. I always blame Yoshi. Yoshi's a son of a bitch. I know it's really kind of foolish to say this, but what I'd really like to do at some point is save up the spare scratch to get a second one of these SFC 2000 units to hook up to the living room television upstairs, so that I've got one on both the upstairs and downstairs family room, or the family room and the living room, just so I can pick and choose without having to unplug everything and haul it here and there and back and forth. Just because I'm kind of lazy. It would, plus it would just be nice to have the option of, oh, you know, I want to play this game or that game right now, but let's say my son wants to play something else on the Data Frog, he can pick something else to play, you know, depending. So, anywho, back to it. Oi. You know what we're going to do? We're going to go ahead and we're going to save. Just in case. Shit. Oh, yeah. See, like, I'd like to take my time, but I know that I'm on a timer, so I don't have forever to just dilly-dally around. Mother... Fuck. Fucker. Jesus. Yeah, I know. Huzzah! What the shit? It brought me in a circle. I don't remember this. Motherfucker. Alright. Well, I gotta try to remember what to do there. Okay. Holy shit, that's loud. I like to do a reference to this particular game a lot when I'm in the comments section on my buddy Kilted Cajun, or on a much larger streamer by the name of Hypnotic. When I'm in one of their shows, I'll make the joke when they start talking about you just need to let games be fun again, and I will say, yes, go back to what was. Dragons, bubbles, monsters, fun, bubble bubble. Because bubble bubble is fun. Let's go back to load. Ah, shit. All right, so that's my load is not working here. Fuck. Here's the thing: if I reset the device and turn it off and turn it back on, I'll probably be able to get that load file to go again. But you know what? Fuck it. Just because we're having some fun here, I'm just gonna go ahead and restart from the beginning. Let's enjoy some bubble bobble. Grapes, apple, pepper, dinosaur, bubble. Well, I don't know if he's a dinosaur. I think he's a dragon. I think they're dragons. Can't remember what they're supposed to be. Little dudes. Yeah, when they're the last one of their kind, they get really pissed off. And they run around all cracked out. And if you take too long to get rid of all of your enemies, a ghost whale will show up and stalk you across the entire level and take you out, unless you can get rid of the rest of the enemies before that ghost whale touches you. Once it touches you, it kills you. It kind of resets its timer. It'll leave you alone for a little while. Suddenly, Dragonsaur. Yes. Gotta love it. Oh yeah. Then the race to try and get as many of the didn't get the grapes. That's okay. Oh shit. Ah! Couldn't race. Couldn't do it fast enough. There we go. Boop. Old school. Oh. Pepper. Pepper. Oh, damn it. All right. Level 7. More of these ghosty wizard guys. But they go down just as easy as anything else. Pepper. And apple. Ghost witches. Stranger danger. You're damn right. Booyakasha. Alright, I gotta get those two. Or wait for them to float up and just wait patiently. Plip, plop, 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 plop. Sometimes you just gotta be tactical. Whoa. Wheel. Ah, hell. Hey Dan, is this coming through kind of choppy on your end? Or anyone else who can tell me? Kind of curious to know if it's streaming all right. I mean, my setup is janky. I've got my laptop set up on here. Let me show you a second. This is I am not only a Luddite, I am a man on a shoestring budget. So, this is effectively my setup. I've got my laptop propped on that rigid box while I'm on the couch, angled towards the TV. Because, like I said, Luddite, I've got no real tech savvy and not a lot of equipment to work with. Okay, it's coming through all right. I just want to make sure it's not too choppy, that you're actually able to enjoy the old school gameage. Oh, I really wish I could get rid of some of that glare. That's going to be tough because I don't have grapes over there. Got to do something about that. Oh, all right. Not a problem, Dan. But I am going to go ahead and get back to it. Ah, shit. I got a 1-up just in time to die. Hey, that's a nice extra life we got there. Be a shame if something happened to it. Well, something did happen to it. Namely, I lost the damn thing. Whoop. Oh, come on. There we go. Got him. Whoa. Level 12. Level 13. The lovey level. Whoa. Ah. Almost. You're getting there. I just gotta get my way into that last little area. So I can get them. Ah ha ha ha! Son of a bitch. Well, that's as far as I got for now. Level 13. We'll go ahead and change up the game there. But yeah, I've got 95 games listed in just my favorites for quick access on this device, so it's got a healthy number of options for me to play and tinker around with. But I am going to take you with me as I step out into the garage, grab a quick smoke. Bad habit, I know, but it's among my many bad habits. If I didn't have bad habits, do you think my teeth would look like this? Like a bad clown show? Fucking A. Be a little bit healthier in the tooth and gum department if I had good habits. Hold on a second here. Message from my brother-in-law. Let's see what he wants. But for the time being, sorry about that. Coughing jag. It happens when you smoke. It's a bad habit, and one that I'm about to indulge in again. Again, I know, terrible for me. But what can you do? What's up, Gunner? Dog. He's the woolly snoot. The big woolly snoot. Another text. Nope. Okay. But anywho, on most of my work days during my half-hour lunch break, I've been doing short little streams here on Rumble, and uh, and I've got it linked to my YouTube account as well. So I've got the dual casting through Rumble Studios, which is handy. It's nice to have. It's a good option to utilize. I appreciate that it's there. Um, and what I've been thinking about doing. Um, oh, okay. Ah, okay. My mother-in-law is going to be dropping off the electric canner. That's good. She borrowed it from us. Um, I've been trying to think of what to do in terms of if I want to have a specific goal in mind or an actual like topic to touch upon with each installment of that break time at work broadcast, because it's not at the exact same time every day, but it's roughly in the same hour and a half window, and I have 30 to 40-minute break, my lunch break at work. And I had posed the question before if anyone thought I might do well or be um, well inclined to utilize that break period to do a live stream reading of one of my stories, an audio presentation, but to quote Bill O'Reilly, do it live. So I have decided, yeah, I'm going to do that for a few of my break time streams. I'm thinking I would probably do that 2 or 3 times per work week, and then a couple of broadcasts where I either won't do a show on my work break, or I'll just kind of randomly get on and chit chat, do a little bit of nerd chatter, talk about stuff like last night. I went on a almost 40-minute ramble, growl, snarl, sneed about the Acolyte. And it was quite cathartic to get that off my chest. It was much necessary. Quite bigly. And when it was done and I had it out of my system, I felt great. I felt, like I said, much relieved to have that said and done. But I do want to utilize a little bit of my opportunity to share that older written material and to represent it as a story time reading for a live audience. Yes, it will later be available for view for those who aren't available to catch it when it's live. That's always going to be available, and I'm grateful to Rumble Studio for doing the recording / posting to both Rumble and YouTube. I wish that I could do all of my audio presentations purely on BitChute. As far as a standalone video upload site, that's still my primary. And I realize I'm saying that while utilizing the software suite of Rumble. But guess what? You guys, as far as a standalone video hosting site, kind of suck. You kind of suck. Just how it is. I've got, and here's the thing, like, it's not even that, like, Rumble actually sucks at it. It's that they're so focused on streaming that I don't think they do anything to promote standalone videos on Rumble. But I know there are plenty of people of a more artistic or creative bent who have turned to Rumble as an alternative to YouTube. Even though BitChute has been around for quite a while now and serves as a perfectly viable option for where to upload your standalone videos. But I have a bias towards BitChute because I went there long before I discovered Rumble. I've been on Rumble for about 3 years. I've been on BitChute for close to 5. So I had more there. Yeah, I don't know, Dano. I don't know if it's so much that Rumble wants to become another Twitch because they don't focus primarily on video game content, though that is quickly becoming one of the larger categories on Rumble. But if it's not video games, then it's politics. And from everything I see, it's almost all opposite YouTube. Most YouTube live streamers who are talking politics are, let's face it, they are progressives, they are liberals, they are leftists. On Rumble, most of your political commentators and streamers are right-wingers, conservatives, Republicans. It's like this weird digital boxing match. And unfortunately, for the folks who stream exclusively to Rumble or try to do dual streaming, YouTube and the Borg that controls it under the auspices of Alphabet and Google, they've got their hands so heavily weighted on the scales in favor of the left that folks who are ideologically more to the right, even if they're center right, it doesn't take them long to recognize, oh, I'm never going to be promoted here. I'm never going to get the support that I need here on YouTube or even on Twitch, which is owned by Amazon, the beast of Bezos, and almost as fringe left as you can get. If you are even slightly right of center, you're not going to find the support and the assistance that you could utilize to benefit, to have any kind of promotion from within if you're hanging around on Twitch or YouTube as a streaming site. On Rumble, if you're even middle of the road to the right, not only are you welcomed, you are welcomed with open arms and with a warm embrace. But Rumble doesn't go out of their way to denigrate, downgrade, shadow ban, or suppress left-wing presenters and creators on Rumble. They don't do the weighting on the scale that Google/Alphabet does over on YouTube. And again, I realize I'm dual streaming to both platforms right now. You're watching me, Dan, on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. But guess what? It's the fucking truth. We all know it. No one is oblivious to this anymore if they've got more than 3 brain cells to rub together. We're aware of the bias. Now, over on Odyssey, which is another video sharing / streaming service and site, Odyssey's a weird duck. I tried it for a little bit and then I kind of gave up on it because they were trying to utilize this like crypto token system. I don't get it. I don't understand how that functions. And I'm not about to devote a great deal of time to figuring it out. Where's the ashtray? Where'd I put it? Oh, that's right. Precisely, Dano. When left-leaning becomes right because we're right. Right? Who's on first? But this is another reason, and I realize I'm rambling and going all over the place, but this is another reason I really enjoy Substack, is because even though there is a shriekingly loud, banshee screaming, fringe left-wing, uber-liberal, uber-progressive element on Substack, they're not the only voices there. there is a healthy number of voices from the dissident right or conservatives or right of center, and a ton of folks who are moderates, middle of the road on Substack. There are some journalists, some independent investigators putting together stories on Substack that are genuine old school journalistic pursuits and endeavors. It's amazing. And Substack doesn't really have a heavy ideological lean. It does have a slight lean, particularly when you grant that the only payments processor that Substack works with right now is Stripe. Stripe, who for some fucking reason is not processing any payments that I've got coming from Substack. I signed into my Substack account yesterday here on the laptop, on the desktop version, and was greeted at the top of the page with a little notice saying, hey, your Substack or your Stripe account is currently not authorized to process. Click here to see what's going on. So I hit the hyperlink. I clicked here, re-signed into my Stripe because I hadn't signed into it in a very long time. I figured maybe that was the kerfuffle or the hiccup. And when I signed into Stripe again, like, okay, I don't see anything on all of the graphs or the graphics. There's no notifications here for me to see. Clicked back over to my window with Substack, reloaded it, and refreshed it, and boom, it was just fine. Greetings, Sarge, and salutations. How you doing, sir? Yes, I am live. I am alive. How goes it, brother? How goes it in the land of the mystical Arizona desert? And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the second time now that we have had Belgian Dan and Dear Sarge in the show at the same time. Gotcha, sir. Not a problem. Because, yeah, I think you had said before, like, this Dan's a good Dan. He's not a fuck you Dan. At least that's how I recall it. You're like, yeah, this Dan is cool. Your Dan is good. So he gets to not receive a fuck you Dan. I understand the compulsion. I am a nicotine user as well. But the only room inside the house where I will indulge is down in my office, in my home office, because I have an air purifier machine that I can click on, turn on down there. But after a couple of smokes, it's like, I better just let the purifier run for a little bit or go out to the garage, which is where I'm at right now. In the garage. Gotta do something with that pumper. And by the way, Dano, if you're interested at all, that little data frog device that I've got downstairs, the handheld with the cord, the battery is already pre-installed. It's rechargeable. Comes with a little stand that you can glue to the back to prop it up on like tabletops, and with the AV cord and one controller, you can pick that whole package up off of like eBay, $40, brand new. Now, yes, you do have to wait for shipping because they come from Japan or China, one or the other, unless you happen to find someone who is selling theirs second market because they're done with it. And I'll tell you a big reason why I think a lot of people sell their SFC 2000 is because it's an underpowered device. because all it can really handle very well is Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Color, Sega Genesis, and some arcade games. It has a Game Boy Advance emulator on there, but there's a lot of slowdown and screen tear when playing the Game Boy Advance games, with a small handful of exceptions. Like Mario Kart Super Circuit actually runs on there pretty good, and it's pretty decent. But it and Golden Sun 1 and 2 both play pretty well on it. There's just a little bit of screen tear. But when I do up like Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, I literally could not play it because the screen tear was so noticeable and so bad. But I did manage to tweak the settings a little bit and get a different copy. I got the PAL copy of the game, of the ROM, and I loaded that up, and it actually plays a little smoother. It's not full speed, but there's not so much janky, jaggedy screen tear, which makes it much more palatable to me, and I'm much more willing to spend the time playing it. That those extra few seconds, they may not count for much, but when you've been playing video games as long as I have, you'll notice these things. Like I said, they're not big. They're not really bad, but they add up. It's like the difference between a push mower and a riding mower. Speaking of riding mower, big old Cub Cadet. I have just enough front and side yard to justify that giant thing. Oh, damn it, I left my glasses out there. Yeah, thumb typing is not ideal, Sarge. Not ideal. But, you work with what you've got. If all you've got for the moment is thumb typing, then that's what you do. All right. Back to a little game time. But, Sarge, I was telling Dan that I have decided that for my break time streams, I'm going to start doing a story presentation for some of my older material, so that audiences, or my audience, small though it may be, deserves an opportunity to have some, not unique, not brand new material, but something different that I can provide that they will not necessarily get on most other streaming channels. I've already got the first story that I'm going to present selected. It's one of my older fantasy tales. It is the beginning novel in a trilogy, the Kathy Potts novels. And that title, which I will begin sharing tonight on my break at work, is A Midwestern Yankee in King Owen's Court. And I titled the book that as a play on the old film, A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. Big difference being that this is a fantasy story, high fantasy, with swords, sorcery, magic, all that sort of thing. But it's more of an urban fantasy tale. So there is a little bit more crossing from one world into another. And you'll get a better feel for that tonight when I do the live stream, or if you have to catch it at a later time. For now, I'm going to delve into a little... What do I want to play here? Double level. Some Dig Dug. Dig Dug 2. Old school. Oh, shit. The glare from the freaking window. Holy good God. I really need to get like some blackout curtains in here or something. Hopefully that's a little better. There we go. That's not nearly as bad. There we go. Dig Dug. This one's quieter. Dig Dug, especially 2. Yes, it's a fantastic old mythology, and no matter how many times the story is retold, what form it's told in, it's always one of the most charming stories that is out there. I didn't go that route per se, but there are some crossover elements for certain. Dig Dug. Die! Huzzah! Arcade classics. Oh, just as a quick kind of side note to show how exactly I'm going to be doing it, too. This is my Amazon Kindle. I use this to read quite a lot. If I don't have a physical copy of something, I typically will have a digital electronic copy to read. And I have loaded up a couple of my own books onto this so that I can have the phone propped up to do the stream on show or on camera as I am reading the book from this. Oop, got a guest. Hold up. Hey, Mom. Oh, I have a jar of jelly and jam in there for a minute, but I didn't want it. John looks like he's taking it up. Oh, probably. Out of your So did she like your phone? Yeah, she just wished it was a little smaller so she could fit a sweater over it. But, like, honey, just yeah. I still got your old arm coat. Oh, yeah. Sure, he loves you. God, Hunter. Act like you haven't seen her. Alright. Well, thank you. No problem. Returned it before the warden. Before the warden throws me in the stony. Thanks, Mom. See ya. Gunner. Goof. These dogs, I swear to God. Some dogs act like they haven't seen my mother-in-law in fucking forever, but, she was just here the other day to visit and chit-chat, and they were all over her then, too. But no, I'll be, like I said, reading the book off of here during the presentation. It's all loaded up, prepared at the start. We'll be good to go from there. Now, obviously, I won't be able to do whole chapters necessarily per se if it's a longer chapter. but I will try to make a mark and have a reminder for myself where I left off the previous stream before proceeding onward with the next part. And rather than naming the streams, chapter whatever, part whatever, I'm just going to start at the beginning. It'll be a Midwestern Yankee in King Owen's Court, part one, and then just on through there numerically. So that there's no confusion, and so that it's slightly easier just to name the recording, the reading, which part we're on, which however many number of readings we have done. So anyhow, that's what is going to be going to the break time streams starting tonight. I don't know. I never find out what time my breaks are until I get on the clock, until I get to work. But I will try to figure out a way to pass that along, either as a community post on YouTube, or I will let folks know, specifically Sarge, I'll be able to throw you a text. I know you'll probably be working as well, so you might not be able to make it live. It's always available and remains up and available on both my YouTube and Rumble channels afterwards. What's really nice for me is so long as I keep the actual video stream under an hour, I can pretty easily download the video playback later on and upload that standalone video of the stream to my BitChute channel. So all three of my video platforms that I utilize will have material available. It just might take a little longer to get to YouTube and BitChute because the streams that I dual stream on Rumble and YouTube, they show up immediately on my Rumble channel, but it takes a few days for them to show up on my YouTube channel. So it'll be a few days then to just kind of sit and wait in a holding pattern. I'm not keen on that, but what can I do? Double booked on stream watching. Okay, not a problem, Sarge. And that's, I'm never worried about saying, people got to be there when I'm doing it live. Then no, it's saved, it's archived, it's preserved for posterity, which is nice to have. But anywho, I see I've got a few more folks here on the Rumble side right now as well. We're currently sitting at a cozy 5 folks on Rumble and 2 folks on YouTube. Greetings and late morning / early afternoon to you folks. I'm thankful that you decided to pop into this ramble and retro gaming stream. I'm going to get back to playing some Dig Dug 2. Booyah! Booyah! Hippity pop! Pop them dragons. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Shit. Ugh. What? Shit. Die. Oh. Jesus. That was close. Thank God for bad collision detection, because that should have killed me. Huzzah! Yeah, bad collision detection is the only reason I didn't die there. Which is weird, because usually that goes against me. Oh, shit. Not quite fast enough. That's like the first level where you absolutely have to use that mining, digging mechanic to survive at all to get through that level. This one is kind of the same. Just gotta plant your feet, do the dig, connect the line, wipe them all out as fast as possible. Otherwise, you're screwed. Oh, Jesus. Run for your life. Screw you. Shitty. Woo! Not getting me that way. Bastard. Oh yeah, he was about to. Okay, that's another weird little facet of Dig Dug 2. It's a weird little thing. That little dragon guy was about to stand on the edge of the island. He was about to jump off into the ocean. Not sure why this is set up this way, but every now and again in Dig Dug 2, when you've got it down to one or two monsters remaining on the map, randomly, one of them will commit suicide. They'll just jump off the island into the ocean. No idea why. No idea what possessed the creators of the game to program that mechanic in. Not a clue. But the fact is, it's there. So, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to a different game for now. And what are we going to do? First couple Castlevanias on here. A Link to the Past for the Super Nintendo is on here, and I started a game file, but I've only played a couple of minutes. I just barely started it. I haven't just figured out. I try to only have one or two RPGs going at a time on this device. Shortly after I got it, the first game I sat down and played all the way through. Because when I was younger, much to my own shame, I never finished playing Chrono Trigger all the way through when I was younger. My brothers and I when we lived in South Buffalo, we had some friends down the street who had a Sega Genesis and a bunch of games. We had a Super Nintendo and a bunch of games. We let them borrow our system, they borrowed our system. During the swap, they managed to convince their parents to buy them a Super Nintendo. So now they had their own Super Nintendo. And they gave us back ours, but they didn't have a copy. They weren't able to get Chrono Trigger. They only got like 2 games with the Super Nintendo. We're like, yeah, you can keep borrowing it. And we played the Genesis for a little bit longer, and then we returned them their Genesis a couple weeks later. We ended up moving to the far south suburbs of Buffalo before we ever got our copy of Chrono Trigger back. I just completely forgot to go get it because it wasn't my game. It was my oldest brother Newton's. So I never got to finish Chrono Trigger as a kid. Well, one of the games preloaded on this device for the Super Nintendo collection was Chrono Trigger. So guess what I played like a crack addict the moment I had a chance to play it. And I finally played and beat Chrono Trigger. I sank 37 hours into that game on this little device. Frankly, one of the most gorgeous traditional JRPGs I've ever played. Still holds up. It may not have the highest graphic fidelity. It may not be that I don't think I get all the secret stuff in it, but I enjoyed the hell out of it for what it was. Brilliant characterization, excellent, if somewhat simple and straightforward story. The mechanics were enjoyable, traditional, familiar feel for me, who has played a lot of JRPGs. It was fantastic. But I ended up playing no other games at all on the damn thing because I was cracked out on Chrono Trigger. So I try to only have 1 or 2 RPGs going at a time when I'm playing this thing, but I keep them in my favorites list. Right now, my current primary RPG on here is Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. And probably after I finish that, I'll end up going to Legend of Zelda. But for now, let's play some Super Double Dragon. From Trade West. Got that 80s style soundtrack. Super Double Dragon here was the first Double Dragon game to implement a block mechanic, where you could block incoming strikes. You're blocking a punch. Obviously, you can capture your opponent's arm and produce counterattacks. If you are holding your opponent's arm and you press the punch button, you give them a back or a quick blow to the side of the head. Oh, shit. But they don't always wait around for you to just beat them up. But once you hit the third punch, you can hit them with a series of back fists and one final clearing strike. If you catch an opponent's kick, usually just throw them to the ground. Oof. Now, with hip throwing an opponent, there's always a risk because whenever you throw an opponent, they get enraged and they come at you with enhanced speed and enhanced attacking power. So, hip throwing an opponent is always a curious balance of what you're going to do to them when you've got them in a counterattack hold from blocking. However, if you've got another opponent coming up right behind you about to do a jump kick or a leg sweep or what have you, sometimes it's your best course of action to save yourself on your life bar. Super Double Dragon also incorporates, you can see that moving bar at the top underneath my life bar. That is a Dragon Force bar, and it fills up by pressing and holding either the L or the R button. And when it fills all the way, you are temporarily filled with Dragon Rage, which makes all of your punches and kicks hyper-powered and hyper-fast. But it doesn't last very long. The Nunchaku are one of the better weapons in the game. Most enemies can only take 2 or 3 rounds of getting struck with the Nunchaku before they are dead. But if you don't use the entire bar, while filling it, you can hit the kick button to do a sweep or a jump kick. If you use the punch button, you do a spinning back fist. While doing a jump kick, if you press in the opposite direction and hit the kick button, you can kick behind you. But I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to what I'm doing here. Get these guys to fuck off. Gosh. Ah. Ah, shit. I know it's kind of cheap pinning them against the elevator glass there, but it's one of the only opportunities that you're going to get to cheap out on opponents in this game. Yes, kicking they asses, Sarge. Kicking them as much as I can. Oh, motherfucker. God damn. Fuck you, sword guy. They have the least health and motherfucker. Now I know that mechanic makes no sense at all. How the hell can you block a sword strike with a bare forearm? It's a video game. Who cares about pure logic here? Come on. Uh, oh, motherfucker. Oh, oh, fuck you, Steve. Fucking Steve. God damn it. There's a reason I keep saying fuck you, Steve, because in the original instruction manual that came with Super Double Dragon, because this is one of those games that I owned when I was a kid on the Super Nintendo, they list some of the enemies' names and their pictures. This douchebag in the suit, his name is Steve. So fuck you, Steve. Fuck you, Steve. He gets a back fist in the face now. Goddamn right. All right. Stage 1 clear. We'll go ahead and save it now for here. There we go. Sonic the Hedgehog, Little Samson, Kirby's Adventure, Blaster Master. Not a whole lot of people remember this one for the Nintendo. Ah. Ah, fucker. Shit. Can't get through there though. Ah, fucker. Ha, motherfucker. Shit, this is a dead end. Yep, this is a dead end. God damn it. Oh well, at least now I know. Yeah. Yeah, Steve, the well-dressed douche. He's a jackass. But anywho, I've been on now for about an hour and a half, and I got to get some lunch for myself, get the little girl up from her nap soon, and get this laptop plugged back in so I can charge. Sarge, Dan, I want to thank you two gentlemen for stopping in and chit chatting with me for a little bit, and the other folks on Rumble who have been watching but haven't piped up or chimed in. I'd like to thank you for tuning in as well to this little chit chat ramble stream, as well as joining me for some old school gaming. Yeah, real life does interrupt fun, but we need real life in order to enjoy the fun. Because you can't live a life of leisure unless you are built for that. If you're built for nothing but leisure, I suppose that some people are. Matter of fact, I know for certain that some people are designed for lives of leisure, where any kind of actual effort is practically anathema to them. And I tend to feel a sense of pity for those folks, because if where do you derive your sense of purpose? I wouldn't know what to do with myself if I didn't have something to aim towards, some kind of goal. Um, Perhaps that is the entirety of their purpose, their sense of self, is they just want to bleh. I don't know. For me, that's not possible. Um, but yeah, some people are just lazy. They need a purpose. Um, I'm a dad first, father first, always, which you might think if you're new to the show and you're just kind of watching casually, like, wait, this 42-year-old guy has been laid back on his couch chit-chatting about Substack and about writing stories, and he's playing old video games. What does he know about adult responsibilities? I've got 4 kids, all right? At least 4 kids that live with me, but 3 of them are at school right now. The youngest is upstairs taking her daily nap. And I have not had this kind of downtime, quiet time for quite some time. um, had to dick off 24/7. Yeah, otherwise, you need a paycheck. But outside of my kids, I love telling stories. I am a storyteller. I am a dad first. husband, right close behind, if not tied. But then after those, I'm a storyteller. And whether I'm telling the story for a paycheck, whether I'm telling a story for a sale, or if I'm telling a story just because I enjoy telling stories of horror or fantasy or science fiction genre material, as long as someone is entertained by it and maybe has a few curious internal questions to ask themselves, or if it stimulates dialogue and a conversation, all to the better. That is my purpose. Dad, husband, storyteller. That is what God has directed me to do. And I'm not about to flap my hand in the big man's face because I don't want to burn forever. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. I ask that you take care of yourselves. And as always, especially you, gentlemen, because I know you do take the opportunity to do it when you have the time. Keep reading. Before I leave, actually, before I depart, any questions or clarifications or inquiries that you'd like to pose before I hop off? Take care, Sarge. And of course, as I'm about to end the show, I finally pop up to a grand total of 9 viewers. 8 on Rumble, 1 on YouTube. But we all know that one on YouTube is Belgian Dan, medicated, lubricated YouTuber. We're going to close that. There we go. Okay. Well, if there are no questions then for me, I will go ahead and say adieu, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you once again for tuning in. Cheers.